Hello and welcome to hangout number 40 with the International Forced Rape Timeline. The main subject of this is something I've covered in a bit before, false allegations against celebrities, but here I'm going to false allegations, social media really, social media and false allegations against celebrities. Social media and false allegations. Before I go any further, I haven't live streamed for a bit for several reasons. The main one is that, like every library in the country, I'm still using Windows 7, far superior product to Windows 10, and YouTube has done something with its software to now to live stream you have to download something, and I don't know if it's me or the machine or whatever, but I've been able to sort that. I tried the Google Hangout, but that didn't work. I might try Zoom at some point, but for the moment I won't be doing any live hangouts of it, because the main reason is I'll shortly be undertaking a project that's going to take up the next 2 months, and I've only got limited time. I've got even less time now. As some of you may know, some of you on my mailing list, on June the 9th I fractured my wrist. I've had a rather bad fall at Nora Junction Station. I've got what is it? It's a herbal patch on it from my local Chinese. I've had acupuncture on it. What happened was the fracture healed, but the tendons haven't. I got a real problem with the tendon and the overlying tissue. It's incredibly painful. It's only certain movements. I can type okay, but I can't make a fist most of the time. And I'm left-handed, so there's certain things that I can't do with my left hand. Certain movements, I mean, it's certainly a key in the lock is very painful. They gave me some exercises to do. Another thing is that I didn't just land up, I didn't just fracture my wrist and pull the tendons. I landed heavily on the right side of my face, and about 2 or 3 weeks later I started having headaches. I've never really had headaches before. I've had lots of problems with my neck over the years, and I don't know how much longer I've got for this world. I mean, I'm 64 at the beginning of August. I've still got plenty of work to do. With the Forced Rape Timeline, I've now got just over 4,900 entries. I want to get up to 5,000 by the end of the year, and I would say I've got this project I'm working on. Not just the headaches, but I'm getting very, very tired of late. I don't know how much of this is due to the heat and to my. But today I've been crashed out a lot of the time. And my biological clock, is all over the place. So, anyway, that's the reason I won't be doing any live hangouts for a bit. As things stand, hopefully it will change, but I've got other things to do. I set up a Patreon page over 3 years ago now, 2017, and I didn't have a single donation. I've just realised that it might be because I didn't complete it properly. It's been completed now, so Patreon. If any of you want to donate to my work, you'll find details on the Internet Archive. All my videos for the Forced Rape Timeline, certainly number 1, which is called International Forced Rape Timeline Live Hangout 1, 1 in brackets. Also on my main website, but I've got. I mean, the main thing I may have to upgrade my computer at some point and funds are looking a bit short at the moment. It's for everybody. The other thing I want to do with the timeline is that I want to include a lot more foreign language allegations. I've got a lot from the English-speaking world, including India and Africa. India has a wonderful English language press, but I've got virtually none from Russia, China, Argentina, Czech Republic, Italy. So anybody has any they can send in. So that's the preamble, as it were. Right, I'm going to talk about false allegations against celebrities and social media, because if you follow these things, you may know that the actor Cuba Gooding Junior has been accused of rape. He's been accused of raping some woman back in 2013. She's been probably foolish enough to give a precise date and a precise venue for this allegation, which is almost certainly false. Most allegations of an historical nature are not the accusers don't give a specific time and or place, so it's just really she said, he said, and why would a woman lie? If you consult the live hangout 3Ds, what I call the 3Ds of false rape allegations, drink, drugs and delay, you'll realise that the sensible position to take is that for a reasonably intelligent, educated woman who does not make a reasonably intelligent, educated woman who claims to have been raped at some time in the past is almost certainly lying or fantasising or whatever. It's part of the propaganda of the sexual grievance industry is that women freeze. I just froze. I made a video on that. It's called those bitches. These bitches are playing you. I just froze. No, you didn't freeze, dear. You lied. You're lying. Most real victims report promptly, and they fight back. So there's generally physical evidence. A lot of false rape allegations and a lot of genuine ones are related to alcohol. I would suggest there have been cases, and there are cases of men who prey on drunk women. Indeed, there are cases of men who prey on drunk men, and then there's been cases recently of men who've received quite substantial prison sentences for drugging men and sexually violating them. And of course, there was the shocking case in East London of Stephen Port, who murdered 4 young men, injecting them with whatever it was. So there are monsters out there, but I would say that most rape allegations related to alcohol are false. They're women who have sex then withdraw their consent retroactively, or they have problems with memory. I've covered this as well. The short-term memory doesn't transfer into long-term memory, and the next week, the next day, the next week, the next month, the next year, they wake up and realise, quote unquote, they've been raped. Now, Cuba Gooding Junior isn't the only one. There was a far more ridiculous case in the UK. A bloke named Crispin Odey, who is between him, he and his wife are at least dollar billionaires worth. They're worth hundreds of millions, and it's just me doing exercises with my hand, my wrist. This guy has been charged with indecently assaulting a woman at his home in 1997, if you can imagine that. I mean, it's they should. These are insulting, these cases. Hopefully he'll be acquitted. But this is largely due to the feminist movement. We have no statutes of limitations in this country. There were statutes of limitations in Canada, which were removed in, I think, 1981. And Canada is probably the worst place in the world, the worst country in the world, for a man to be falsely accused of rape or any sexual offence. There are no jury trials, and the judiciary has been they've tried to brainwash the judiciary, and partly they succeeded, and at least one judge has been sacked for not falling in line. Right, now, so let me just find something. The Conor Oberst case. This was I think it was 2013. He's a singer-songwriter, American singer-songwriter. Conor Oberst, where are we? Oh, here we are. Oh, lost it. Conor Oberst. He was accused of rape. He was accused online by a woman called Joni Faircloth. I can't remember if it's her real name. Yeah. But yes, her name was actually Joan Elizabeth Harris. He sued her for defamation. And one feminist airhead arsehole said at least once, and why I believe yada yada yada. When Donald Trump made his ill-advised what's it? It's a good it's got a name. It was a action something or something. There was a tape made years and years ago of him saying grabbing women by a certain part of their anatomy. It was clearly referring to power groupers, women who like that sort of thing and come on to wealthy men. And then that was released at the time to sabotage his presidential campaign, and about a dozen women came forward making false allegations against him. And that arsehole cunt, if I can use the word, that cunt Jessica Valenti, our rapist president. She actually wrote an article about our rapist president. And you hear claims that Donald Trump or some other celebrity has been, or politician has been credibly accused by two women, or credibly accused of rape. No. At the same time, you hear lots of complaints about women being from feminists of online misogyny, sexist comments, misogynistic comments, etc. These are actually part of the same phenomenon. Powerful men, be they politicians, businessmen, police officers, another one. There's a certain type of woman who's attracted to a police uniform, police officers, army officers, soldiers. Powerful men who have a perception of power, especially wealthy and powerful men, have always been targets of false allegations. Well, there's only so many. There was financial corruption, maybe murder, and there's rape, sexual offences. Just because they're made and circulated publicly doesn't mean they're true. With women, powerful women, especially female celebrities, what are they going to be accused of? Well, obviously, dropping their knickers to get ahead. Well, some do, like Kamala Harris, she certainly did. Women in business, generally not. Certainly women in STEM fields almost always make it on their own ability. I mean, they may network the same as men do. Lots of people in media and academia, business. I mean, you've got firms that specialise in headhunting. Lots of women make it to positions of power and authority, etc., on their own ability. But I mean, if say a woman like Jessica Valenti, who has a master's degree in gender studies, which is a bit like a master's degree in astrology, won't help you pick the winner of the 3:30 at Newmarket. But women like that, their qualifications are trash. They're learning things which are just fantasy. But if a woman has a degree in computer science or chemistry or engineering, there aren't that many women in engineering, but if she has a degree in engineering and she gets ahead, I mean, they get ahead on their own merits. In fact, they may get ahead because they're women, but it may help in some respects. Other respects, it may not help. But professional women in business, women who start their own businesses. Not everybody can start a business. Not everybody can run a business. So if a woman is in your street running her own nail bar, or maybe there are women who own bigger small businesses, maybe a small manufacturing concern. If she started it, and sometimes they grow very big, like that woman who started Spanx, on a really gorgeous creature. These are women who make it on their own account, and they will be the victims of trolls. It's nothing to do with sexism or misogyny. A lot of online trolls and gossip started by women. And gossip is traditionally a woman's pastime. But there have always been false allegations against powerful people. Before the internet, what was there? I mean, if you wrote a letter to a newspaper, you could have a letter in the local press. You might get a letter in an actual press, but there were gatekeepers. There's law of defamation, and at times quite humble people have sued successfully for defamation. And at times quite notorious people have. Colin Jordan, who was Britain's leading National Socialist theorist from 1956 until his death in 2009, he sued for defamation. There you go, Settlement Hour radio station. A lot of celebrities, there's so much rubbish out there that they just ignore it and hope it goes away, or don't dignify it with a response. Now, as I've said before, with the internet and now social media, you've got perhaps 1 billion people, well, you got over 1 billion people on YouTube and over 1 billion on Facebook. Massive overlap. But let's say you've just got 1 billion people online, just 1 billion. The vast majority of them will be fluent in English, or have some fluency in English. Some, and nowadays you've got Google translations. Are all these people legal, decent, honest and truthful? Are they all sane? Do they all have your best interests at heart? No, probably not. And I've been the target of you, and I'm sure you have as well. If only at school, people start, start rumours in the classroom, and a lot of the time these are ignored. And if it turns out to be true, if a particular rumour turns out to be true, the there's allegations of cover-up. The Jeffrey Epstein case is, apparently there were rumours circulating about him for a long time. But so what? People must have known. No, they not necessarily have known. John Gacy had murdered 33 people, young men and boys, and most of them were buried under his house. Who knew? Dennis Nilsen committed something like 15 murders, most of them at his last address. Who knew? Fred and Rose West buried their own daughter under a patio at 25 Cromwell Street, and also Cromwell Street anyway. Cromwell Street in was it Gloucester? But they buried their own daughter under the patio and joked about it. Who knew? Some people look the part, some people look creepy. I've discussed Jimmy Savile on here before, and although he's been posthumously convicted, as it were, of some 32 rapes, I believe he was totally innocent. He went the extra mile to be extra. He bleached his hair blonde, and he appeared on the front cover of the first issue of Gay News in 1970, and it was rumoured he was homosexual, and later he's accused of molesting all these girls. Let's go back to Cuba Gooding Junior. What happened there was he was accused of groping a woman in a club. You can see him touching her arm, or what might be touching her breast. I don't think I've seen that. I don't think there's any sexual intent there. And another woman he touched in the back, and we probably shouldn't have done, but again I don't see any sexual intent. And now something like 20 or 30 women have accused him of touching them inappropriately. Ludicrous phrase. and a woman has come forward, and Jane Doe, of course, has accused him of rape. And she didn't go to the police at the time. No mention of it. Complete, in my humble opinion, complete rubbish. Let's take a look at a few celebrities from the timeline. Let's take David Copperfield as one. Right, David Copperfield, as you probably know, is a magician. Took his stage name after the Dickens character. He was accused of a stunningly attractive but toxic young lady named Lacey Carroll. Claimed that Copperfield was a private island in the Bahamas, a bit like Epstein. She claimed he'd raped her on his island. The FBI spent 2 years investigating it. She brought a civil suit against him and dropped it. He set up a website called David Copperfield Sets the Record Straight.com, which includes the last entries, I think 2010, in which he points out his accuser went on to accuse somebody else. Let's find who was this guy. I don't think he's. I don't think what it may be named. Was he named? Can't remember now. It's a while since I set this up. She tried to screw money out of this guy, and she ended up being charged with false reporting, and it happens to celebrities. Now, as I said, delay is the big thing. Anytime a woman claims to have been raped, certainly years ago, or months ago, or weeks ago, without filing a police report, she's almost certainly lying. If she files a civil claim, again, without a police report, she's almost certainly lying. That's David Copperfield. The so-called hashtag Me Too movement has generated a lot of this, a lot of these false allegations. Not all of rape. I don't think you can blame this all on feminism. I think some companies have been using it to get rid of people for whatever reason. People have fallen out of favour, and just to sack a guy, especially a senior type person, just to sack him like that could result in an expensive lawsuit. But to use allegations of sexual impropriety as a basis for sacking him, that's save a lot of money. I've no doubt that most of these Me Too cases are false, and Harvey Weinstein appears to have been a victim of that. I mean, a lot of these women who claim to have been raped by him, they send him glowing emails, and we're told this isn't exculpatory evidence. For some reason, there's airheads like Barbara Ziv claim this is what women do. Well, of course, there is, if you accept this trauma bullshit, this rape trauma syndrome bullshit, there is no such thing as exculpatory evidence. Any man who's accused of rape must be guilty because. And the corollary of this is that even if he's totally exonerated, then the non-victim is still a victim. She has mental health issues, or perhaps another thing is that claims she was sexually abused in the past, and she was somehow transferring experience to. I mean, women are never responsible for their false allegations. Never. We saw a hyping up of this with the Kavanaugh case in the Kavanaugh hearings. The absolute disgrace on disgusting attempts by the Democrats to keep this guy off the Supreme Court. And then when false allegations were made against Joe Biden by this flake Tara Reid, the same people suddenly developed a taste for due process. Reid, there's a magazine did, I think it's Quillette did a very good investigation of her, and she's a total flake, and her story changed over time. And there was obviously something happened in 1993 with the campaign. She was on the campaign for a short while, and she worked for the Democratic National Committee for a short time, and she parted company with them, probably sacked. And this story has been embellished to being sexually harassed by Joe Biden, and then to being digitally penetrated in a corridor. Well, Quillette dug out a photograph of this corridor, minus the alcove, minus the imaginary alcove, and but even then, some Katie Halper, one of these airhead progressives, called it rape denialism, because people who didn't accept her phased disclosure. No, not phased disclosure at all. There's a lot worse with social media, of course. When I say social media, I don't just mean Facebook and Twitter, YouTube. You can class that as social media. Any newspaper, any online journal that allows people to comment can be construed as social media to some degree. And then you've got bulletin boards, Usenet, well, the Google Groups as it's called now. That isn't used much. It used to be quite active, but isn't used much now. And you've got Reddit, and you've got other online fora. But allegations can be made just like that. And when if people try to suppress them, if they I'll give you an example, a real bad example. The Hampstead Satanic abuse hoax. This was an absolutely outrageous hoax perpetrated by Ella Draper and her lover Abraham Christie on Draper's former husband. They're accused. Now, a woman who wants to get sole custody of her kids might falsely accuse her husband of sexual abuse. This happens quite a lot. You'll find it on the timeline. You'll find a very good documentary in 1993, Divorce's Deadliest Weapon. Draper and Christie didn't simply accuse Ricky Dearman, I think his name was, didn't simply accuse him of sexually abusing the kids. He claimed he ran a satanic coven, and that absolutely ludicrous stuff. They were smuggling babies in from Nigeria and turning them into pies in the local McDonald's. Absolutely absurd stuff. And they had the kids talking about being abused by witnessing satanic abuse on mobile phone, and they released this online, and the Gullibles took the bait. One of the Gullibles is a woman I know, Sabine McNeil, who at the age of 75 is now well into several months into about a year into a 9-year prison sentence for harassment, and a deserved sentence, I'm afraid to say. The police investigated this everything, and to make sure there was no truth at all in the allegations. They interviewed the kids. It turned out they had been physically abused by Abraham Christie. Eventually, they were tortured into what you call torture into making these allegations. And what happened? There's still videos on YouTube now of. Let's see if I can find one of these kids talking. Let's find one of them. Hampstead Satanic cult. There's the. I'll have to mute this, I think. Let's have a look. This is the daughter. It's a nearly 2.5 hour. I think it's a 2.5 hour police interview with her. I reported these to YouTube, and they're still there. The judge at Sabine's trial ordered, I think it was 4 videos be removed from the internet, and they're still there. Although this was uploaded June the 3rd, 2019, but they're being loaded and uploaded. And you got the Gullibles, Veterans Today, which is a so-called right-wing website. They published the addresses of local people who supposedly involved in this ludicrous satanic abuse case. And people believe it. And when these videos are removed, it's all part of a cover-up. So now lots of celebrities have been accused of. I mean, Bill Clinton has been tied to this Jeffrey Epstein, and recently there's been a photograph released of him having a massage from a 22-year-old woman. This is somehow incriminating. I don't believe Clinton was so stupid as to do anything like that. I don't believe he would have been so stupid as to get involved with underage girls. Epstein is called a paedophile. He's wasn't actually a paedophile. A paedophile is paedophilia is sexual attraction to prepubescent girls and boys, and he was employing underage girls, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds for sexual services. I will say that the odious Virginia Roberts, now Virginia Giuffre, you can't believe a word she says. She's an absolute proven liar, and but by her own admission, if you believe anything she says, believe her when she says that she helped recruit girls for Epstein. But lots of people have been roped into this supposed paedophile ring. I don't know. There's obviously something very, very dodgy going on there. I don't think it was with famous people so much as I mean, when it was brought to when Epstein's activities were brought to the attention of Palm Beach police, they did a really good job. But it was scuppered higher up. It was scuppered by this attorney DaCosta, and I think there's, I think when the full truth comes out about that, I think we'll see people whose names we never heard, who aren't celebrities, but who are maybe taking Epstein's shilling. Was this in any way involved with the CIA, Mossad? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd be inclined to think not. But it shouldn't have gone on as long as it did. Regard to Ghislaine Maxwell, I think she's probably. I don't want to say anything to prejudice her trial, but I don't see how she could possibly get a fair trial now. But you know, things do go on. Usually, it's something far more serious than mere child abuse. You know, there are serial killers out there. They tend to work alone, but not always. But this massive conspiracy that the conspirators believe exists it couldn't exist. You know, I mean, we saw this with the VIP paedophile ring in UK, and what happened there was the police. They weren't interested in getting at the truth. They were just following any rubbish that was thrown at them. They weren't properly investigating, probably because they were jolted all over the place with expenses and had the chance to take down some wealthy people, some famous people, maybe a few people they didn't like. And what they did or tried to do to Cliff Richard was outrageous. They raided his home. There was an allegation against him dating back to the 1980s, and they waited till he was out of the country, and then they raided his home looking for what, you know, absolutely outrageous. And Paul Gambaccini, they arrested him, they bailed him, and they put him out there. He said it was he described it as the flypaper strategy, put him out there to see if something would stick. And of course you get lunatics come forward, you get you know, you hear this phrase by the sexual grievous industry, women are afraid to come forward, women should be encouraged to come forward. No, scream at the time, dear, punch, kick, bite, and dial 911 or 999. Don't come forward years after you've had consensual sex or dreamed about having sex with a celebrity. This was absolutely outrageous. You don't see this quite so much in the United States, because in a lot of states there are statutes of limitations. But you've got the odious Gloria Allred and her equally odious daughter, Lisa Bloom, who have been encouraging women to make false allegations. They encouraged them to make false allegations against Donald Trump, and Allred was caught, banged to rights, peddling a forged document to implicate Judge Roy Moore, and she would have got away with that in the UK. So, as I was saying, whenever you see allegations on social media, it doesn't mean they don't have to be of a sexual nature, don't have to be against celebrities, but think twice, thrice, and do some proper research. And you'll often find that how can I put it? Some celebrities can be their movements can be traced. I mentioned Cliff Richard. He was accused of he was on the so-called Elm Guest House list. Elm Guest House existed between 1979 and 1982. It was running, and there was a court case at the time. But if you consult his tour schedule for it's online, and see what he was doing in 79, 80, 81, 82. Ask yourself, at what point did he sneak away to Elm Guest House to abuse boys or to murder boys? Be very, very wary about any allegation made on social media. As I've said before, and I'm not the first person to say this, an allegation, the saying is that without a press report, it's false. I would say without a contemporaneous or reasonably contemporaneous press report, certainly an allegation of rape is false. It's very, very easy to make, and a point I would make is that, you hear this garbage about misogyny and sexism, yada yada yada. No, it's well acknowledged that it's acknowledged that men commit far more violent crime than women. There have been women serial killers, but very few. Women are the crimes they commit. How can I put it? There are a lot of psychopaths out there, including female psychopaths, and female psychopaths are a lot more cunning than male psychopaths, because if you cross swords with a psychopath, you might get punched in the face or something. A lot of these people, if you go around assaulting people, stabbing people, at some point you're gonna end up behind bars. This is male psychopaths. A lot of male psychopaths end up in prison doing serious time. But for female psychopaths, there's an easier way of inflicting pain and suffering on men and on women, and that is by making false allegations. If a false allegation is dated, is post-dated significantly, there's very little chance of the accuser facing charges. There's maybe 3 or 4 in the database of people who've been prosecuted for making historical allegations. There's a wonderful quote, one of my favourite quotes ever, from February 1919 from the American Journal of Urology and Sexology. Sex is woman's strongest weapon. She uses it as a weapon of defence and offence. She uses it to attract and to repel, to reward and to punish. When intent upon punishment, she is utterly without scruples, and there is no vileness, no falsehood at which she will draw the line. I think that sums up a lot of false allegations, a lot of false accusers. We give the fair sex far too little credit, and let's not forget it isn't only women who make false allegations of sexual abuse. Men do it as well, usually in historical context. but like I said, be wary of any allegation made against any celebrity or anyone with a YouTube following on social media or Facebook or anywhere. Allegations are extremely easy to make, and as Samuel Clemens said, nowadays a lie can literally travel around the world in seconds before the truth even knows what's going on. So anyway, I'll finish now. I'll add this to the I'll probably upload to YouTube and BitChute, and then next month to the Internet Archive. Please check out the International Force Rape Timeline. If you want to support it, there's a link for it. But please share it. And if you have any, especially if you have any cases which I've missed, or cases from the non-English speaking world, you know where I live. Okay, so this is live hangout number 40.